spot now.
All right. Are we playing? Are we live?
I think we're live. Hi,
Hi.
I'm Linda.
I'm Mary. Good morning.
Good morning.
We're fixing to start our little home video.
Thank you for joining us, everyone.
Yes.
And we're busy in the kitchen making fried pies today. We've had so many memories of fried
Yes.
pies, haven't we? Some of them are good, some of them are not so
I'm
good.
telling you, we made so many fried pies. I told Linda, I said, just the thought of making fries just makes me cringe because I've made so many of them in my life.
We showed you our little rolling pins Mary did earlier. I don't make pies like Mom and Mary did. They rolled theirs out. I couldn't do that, so
I
make
was
mine
used to
in
rolling
balls.
them out just as far as I could. I'd do 6 or 8 at one time, roll them out and cut them. But Linda, she made the dough up and she rolled them in little round balls per pie. So she knows exactly how much they weigh and everything. She's a perfectionist. So
Wow.
anyway, first time using this little dude, I'll tell you for sure. It's tiny. If you got arthritis in your hands, I think the bigger ones actually works better for me. I think she rolled out 3 pies to my 1. We've already rolled out 4, about 4 dozen. What we're doing today is that the Lumens having Lumens is having their family reunion. We've been doing this family reunion for about 50 years, every year, at first weekend in October. And there's a lot of them that takes their vacation and they goes down there and camps out the week before the Saturday of the reunion. So they're having a fish fry tomorrow. And last year I carried fried pies. Well, guess what? They requested fried pies again this year.
I wonder why they did. They devoured them.
I'm telling you, I was getting the fried pies out of the car, and they was scattering and running to the car and getting them before I could ever get them out, get them to the table. Isn't that pretty?
Y'all see how big these are? These are not tiny fried pies. They're big.
Now, Linda makes hers bigger than what we used to make them.
Yeah, Mama didn't make them this big.
Yeah.
But we were talking about, and they're going to have a good time down there. So any of
Yeah.
you Lumens that are watching, y'all are going to get some fried pies tomorrow.
And if it wasn't for my Linda, my sister, I'm not sure that they'd have got them this year because I've just got where I have so many health problems until I can't stand on my feet long enough to make this big we're planning on making 6 dozen, aren't we? Got 6 dozen?
And that's not, I mean, we've made a whole lot more than that.
Oh,
one day
Lord,
before,
yes,
but,
6 dozen.
This is a 2-day process. So for everyone
Absolutely.
that's ever made fried pies, that's ever bought fried pies, I'm telling you, it's a labor of love. You have to make
Yes.
the filling one day and then
Right.
let it refrigerate overnight.
Because the filling has to be thick. It has to be cold and thick because it'll run out of your pie shells.
Yes,
if you
everything
don't.
has to be done in sections. And then the dough has to be made ahead of time too, and a lot of people don't know that.
Right.
But the dough that we make, you have to make it, and you have to let it set, and then the way I do it, I roll it in little balls. And then after you get the pies rolled, you can't fry a pie right after it's rolled.
No, it has to sit for a while.
It'll tear up. It'll
Yeah.
come apart, and it won't. It
It's-
just doesn't work.
It's an art to do these pies. And we're gonna we're finishing these right here right now, but we're actually gonna mix up another batch in a few minutes, or a half a batch, and let you see how we done it. But we just wanted to finish up these pies that we started.
Remember Mary in Mississippi fried pies?
Oh goodness, do I ever? My mother and myself, we made them for the church and sold them for the church, and
I'm gonna stop, Mary. I'm
That's
sorry
okay.
I'm interrupting you,
That's
but
all right.
for everybody that knows us, we are Texans. We'll always be Texans. But after our daddy died, we moved up there for the summer and ended up staying. Some of us longer than others, but we ended up staying a long time. And that's this what Mary's talking about when we were up there and we made fried pies. Mama made them. I didn't
Yeah.
make them. Mama made
Yeah,
them.
Mother and I made
Mary.
them. Mother at that time probably made more than I did, but I made them before I got married, and then after I got married, I made them. And then one year, my husband, I've said before, he was a union bricklayer. Well, it was in the wintertime, and it was cold. You can't lay bricks above a certain temperature because the mortar will freeze. So he had been out of work about a week, and I already had my regular customers from the church selling pies. What I had done is when I first started working, helping the church get orders, I went and I talked to the people in the office to find out whether I was allowed to come on their breaks. And they said sure, they'd be glad for us to. So I had a book, and I kept up with which it was plants. It was these plants that had lots of people, a lot of men working, and I would go on their break, and they would all come when they looked forward to me coming. Well, this was it was really cold and icy and stormy, and so I asked our pastor, Sister Peggy, if I could make some for us, because my husband was going to missed several paychecks, but we were just going to do this one time. If I could make pies and take them to the plant. And she said, sure, I could. So I did. But Bobby he didn't help me make them, but he helped me with the dishes and, peeling apples, and he helped me with it. And we made 50 dozen. And
50 dozen at one time.
At one time. We had a 3-bedroom home that we were buying, and we only had one child then. Carl was the only child we had. She was a baby. And we made 50, we cleared out one of our bedrooms, took everything out of it. We set up tables. I forgot how many tables was in that bedroom. And put paper down on the tables, and we made 50 dozen. And it was so cold, but that night, it started raining, and then all the cold, it come a freeze. It was ice everywhere. We got up that morning, and Bobby said, you're not taking these pies out. In the first place, ain't nobody gonna buy them. And the second place is the roads are too bad. You're not going out there on that road. I said, Bobby, I'm taking these pies.
Little pigs to overpower.
I'm taking these pies. And he said, well, if you so determined that you're going, I'll drive you. He said, but you're not driving on these roads. And I said, okay. And so he took me. And we probably need some more flour, don't we, Linda? A little bit more.
We need a little bit more.
We have to dip our hands in flour, just a little bit on our cutting board here to keep the crust from sticking to our mat. And anyway, so he carried me. He said, you'll never sell these. I said, I know where to sell these. I do. And sure enough, I got to one of the plants. I knew where to go. And they were so glad to see me, them men. They said, we've been wondering when you was going to come back around. And I sold them. I think I went to maybe four different plants, because they had the breaks at different times. I went to about 4 different plants, and I sold those pies in about an hour.
50 dozen.
50 dozen. My husband said, do you have any more? He thought we was going to be out there all day. I said, no. I said, that's every one of them. He said, you sold all them pies? I said, I sure did. I told you could. And anyway, so I've made a lot of pies in my lifetime. I've made them several times since then.
And to put this into perspective, we've got, we're going to have, when we get through, we're going to have 61 pies here. We're going to make a few more. She sold, which was 5 dozen, she sold made and sold 10 times that much. Her, pretty much by herself, with Bobby helping a little.
Yeah.
And I always said my sister could sell a bag of dirt to a farmer.
No, that's
She's
not
a great
true.
salesman. She's always
That's
been.
true.
She can sell anything. And we all have that salesman in
Yes,
us because of Daddy.
yes.
But
We got termination.
we do. I remember one time we were in the youth center there in Florence at the church, and Mama was always the one that was making pies. She had
Yeah.
helpers, but
Yeah.
she was the one that was
Yeah.
that knew what she was doing. And then there was a bunch of us that took them out and sold them.
Right.
And they were, I wouldn't say they were piping hot, but they were warm, because we'd sell them pretty much as fast
We
as
would put 2 in a bag in
pies.
wax paper little bags, little
in a
bags,
bag.
wax
Now, they
paper.
wasn't this big,
They weren't this big.
but 2 pies in a bag, and we sold them for $1 a bag, y'all.
2 for $1. That's what we sold.
This
Of
was
course,
in the late 60s
Yes.
and 70s, early
Yeah.
70s.
it was late 60s, yeah.
So,
See?
I remember Betty Fumble. I don't know if you're watching this or not, but if you are, you're probably going to laugh. She was one of the ones that took them out to sale, and I took them out to sale. And there's probably some others too. The people that's watching
We
this
was
video,
workers.
but
We
we worked real hard.
Yeah.
Betty walked in the door. She was a real little bitty thing. She walked in the door and she said, she brought pies back. And no, you know, you don't bring pies back when you take them out to sale. She said, nobody wants these pineapples. I said, give them to me. And I loaded up the car and I took those pineapple pies, and I think I was gone 15 minutes. I sold every one of them. I loved pineapple.
Pineapple's my favorite.
And
Pineapple's
you
my
love
favorite.
something, you can sell
Yeah.
it. I'll guarantee you.
Yeah.
They say we don't want pineapple. I said, you just don't know what you're missing. You
Yeah.
taste of this
Yeah.
pineapple
You
pie,
like
and you're
pineapple.
gonna want some more.
Yeah, you like pineapple. Linda's a lot faster with this than I am.
Well, I don't know about that.
She had told me, this has been several years ago, she said, Mary, she said, what do you think about us start making some more homemade fried pies and selling them to some businesses for us for some extra money? I said, oh, Linda, I don't want to do that. I have made fried pies so much in my life. I am over it. I don't want to do that. So we didn't do it, but she did start her little home business, home bakery business, and she works all the time. But I tell you, I work all the time, but I'm not baking all the time. I may be cleaning house, cleaning yards, working outside. I work all the time, and too, I work at the church some. So
Well, she does. She works all the time, and that apple filling, Mary, was delicious. We got just a little bit of it left. So,
the apple filling, how many did we make out of the apple filling?
let me count them and see.
And I'll tell you what I did, how I made them.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We made more than that. Let's see.
Where did we start with that? Uh-oh. Started apple, so it must be.
No, I think we started over here. We started over here. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18. Does that sound about
18,
right?
that's about right, because
Yeah.
we've got enough here probably for about 4 or 5 more.
Sorry about that. I put my marker in the wrong
So,
place.
almost 2 dozen, I peeled 10 small apples. 10 small apples. I used I used 7 Gala apples and 3 delicious apples. And I cut them up into little chunks, put them on the stove, and I put 2.5. Let me get my notes, because I had to write it down because I knew I would forget how much sugar I put in it.
Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm just going to clean up our workspace here real quick, and I'm going to, after Mary gets through, then I'm going to tell y'all, or show y'all how we're making a little bit more of this crust.
I used, now I wonder what, this is not what I wrote down. This is what I wrote down that you said you done. This is not what I done.
Okay, so we got our mat. Got that mat cleaned up. Wipe this off just a little bit. We're using our Pampered Chef pastry mats. And by the way, Sister Gina, if you're watching, I mailed your air fryer and your other little small Pampered Chef package this morning. You should get it Friday.
Well, I put my notes somewhere, I forgot where I put them. That's my problem, I forget. I put 3 cups of sugar. That's a lot of sugar. I put 3 cups of sugar, and I put 3 cups of water in my 10 apples. Now this, like I said, this makes 2 dozen pies. And I put, I let that cook. You cook it till the apples get soft and tender, and I mash them with the potato masher. And I mash them down, so you don't want to mash all of them. You just want to mash some of them.
You want to have texture.
You want to leave some in chunks. And then I mixed up, I I will put the actual recipe on Facebook afterwards. I'm just giving you a kind of because right now I may be giving you the wrong measurements. I've got it written down, but I forgot to get it out. I put cornstarch. I'm pretty sure. Well, I'm pretty sure I'm right about this. 5 tablespoons of cornstarch to 5 tablespoons of water and about 1/4 cup of sugar. I mix a little sugar in with my cornstarch and put in water. You make a little sauce. Be sure you stir it up really, really good because that cornstarch has to be soupy. You can't put dry cornstarch in your apples.
And it should be mixed with cold water, right?
Cold water,
not
absolutely.
ice water, but cold
Yes,
water. You never mix
yes.
cornstarch with hot water.
And I'll probably put a teaspoon of cinnamon and just a 1/4 a teaspoon of allspice. And put that in after your apples are tender and done. You put that in there and just stir it. And you have to stir it and stir it and stir it because until it gets to a thickness that you think it has to be really thick. And then you take it off the burner and I put a 1/2 stick of butter and about a teaspoon, at least a teaspoon, I might have put 2 teaspoons of vanilla. And then you put it in a container to cool and then put it in the refrigerator to get thick.
Did you put salt in there?
I put salt. When
I
I cook the apples, I put just a tiny pinch of salt when you're cooking your apples. Yes, you do. I forgot about that. All right, now what are you done?
So I've got here about probably 6, maybe 6.5 cups of, and this is the difference in what the fried pies that we make, and there's more ways to make them, and we have another recipe that we've made another way. But what we're making today is we're making the crust out of tortilla flour. Actually, it's tortilla flour mix.
Yeah.
So I've got about 6.5 or 7 cups in here. This is just a half a batch. And about 1/2 cup of Crisco, and you can see I've kind of broke it up in little chunks. And then I'm going to mix some warm water with it. And I just washed my hands. So
How
my
much
hands
more
are
water do
clean.
you need?
I've got a cup out. I'm going to just pour this in a little at a time and mix
Okay.
it with my hands and see
Okay.
if we need any more. We're probably going to need some more, but
Okay.
I'm going to start out with the cup.
Okay.
So you kind of mix it like you do biscuits.
Okay.
And I am going to need some more. Mary, can you?
What do you
some
need?
more? Some more.
A little bit of warm water?
Yeah, just go ahead and put a whole cup in there. I probably
Okay.
won't use it, but
Okay.
we're used to making this by 4 or 5 pound batches
Yeah.
with the dough. And so this is a little bit different because we're just making a small batch here to show y'all because we already had our other made
We
up.
had enough filling, more filling than we had dough made up. My water's not like yours, Linda. It comes out. Her water comes out of the hydrant boiling.
140 degrees.
I'm not kidding.
How my
I mean, it's a hot and
That's
can't
our hot water
stand it.
set at 140 degrees.
Oh, not
and
mine.
it will burn you.
It will.
It will burn
I don't
you.
know why does he have that on so high?
He just likes the dishes clean and he likes to have it hot. So I'm probably not gonna need a cup, but I'll pour in part of it.
You may pour it?
Yeah, pour. I'll pour. Here, let me mix this up and see. And what you do after you get this mixed up, you have to roll it in parchment paper, and then you need a little more. And then you want to refrigerate it. And every bit of this, I mean, trust me, we've done this. Mary's done it for years. I've only been making fried pies since Mama died in 03. Some of y'all have heard me tell about her story. You got that burn on, don't you?
Yes, I did. Yeah, I
Okay.
the back one on.
After Mama died, I was just almost inconsolable, and I just couldn't get a grip on things. So
Yeah, Linda, when Mama died, she went to cooking.
and I just went in the kitchen
yeah.
and started.
That and playing the piano.
Yep. The day Mama died, I left the nursing home and came home and played the piano for
Yeah.
probably an hour. Mike
Yeah.
went outside and mowed,
Yeah.
and Mary had all her kids and grandkids.
And you know what Mary done? I went. Did I go from the nursing home
Yes.
where she died? I went from the nursing home and I carried 2 or 3 of the kids and grandkids with me, and I went shopping. I don't know.
That was
I
just the
went
way
and
you
I
coped.
shopped for everybody that I thought was going to be there. That was at my house. I bought clothes.
And it wasn't that they didn't have
It
any
wasn't.
clothes.
That's right. It wasn't. They
It was
didn't have
just
none.
Mary's way of
That
dealing
was-
with her death.
I shop when I'm
at the
stressed.
moment. And we grieve different too.
Yeah. Oh yes, we do.
Mary has always been a very strong person. I've always considered myself strong on a lot of things, but
She's strong too.
I wasn't
Linda's-
on Mama's death, and I automatically went into grief mode and was in it for heavy grief for 6 months. I don't know if you've ever really grieved.
I did not grieve right after
Mom.
Mama died.
No, you
no,
didn't.
I was very close to my mother. I loved her to death, but I couldn't handle it. I could not deal with it. So I just pushed it aside. We went to work, 2 or 3 days.
Mama died on Tuesday. She was buried on Thursday. We went back to the cemetery on Friday, and on Sunday, Mary and I were on a plane to Salt Lake
It was
City?
Utah.
To work
Yeah.
because we had committed to this job,
Right.
and we felt like that's what Mama would have wanted us done, and that's what we know to do is
Yeah.
work, and that's what we did, and
We
it was
went
a
up there.
terrible 2 weeks.
And Linda was in grief mode, and me, I was just totally focused on what we had to do that day. I could not think about it. I would come out of the hotel room singing. I was singing church songs and thank you Jesus and just
I was
praising
not-
the Lord.
I
And
was
Linda comes
not
out of
a
her
good
room and she
partner.
says, "Why are you so happy?"
I was not a good partner those 2 weeks. My sister put up with some bad antics that I had.
And I said, "Well, Linda, I would not be able to work if I let my mind dwell on what just happened. I couldn't do it." And I did the same thing with Bobby. You know, I just cannot. I can't think of it. It takes me years. It took me 10 years to go back to Daddy's grave.
Well,
Took me
it
10
didn't
years.
take me that long, but I'm going
It
to tell you
did.
something. My sister better not die before I do. Because if she does, y'all may not ever hear from me again.
I told Linda, of course, I was joking, but I told Linda when this COVID happened, I said, Linda, if you get this COVID, you might as well just pull your cover over and slide over because I'm getting in the bed with you. Because if you get it, I'm gonna get it too.
But we talked her out. We talked some sense into her, so she's definitely not going to do that. Hopefully, we won't neither one get it. But okay, y'all see, I got 2 balls of dough here. If I'd have done the whole batch, I would have had 4.
Okay.
So
Now you want me to help you pinch them out, or you just gonna do it in 2 big balls, or what?
Well, yeah, we'll go ahead and pinch them out. We'll go
Okay.
ahead and pinch them
All right,
out, and
well,
that way that'll be done.
Just set it
too.
right there and let me help you.
So I want to say, I use kitchen scales all the time, and I do weigh stuff a lot. I didn't weigh these the other day, but I know about what size to make them. It's
Well, after you
about the size of a big walnut.
yeah, I think I could do it, but I've never done it. I've never rolled mine out like this. I was always just taking about half this much and just rolling out with my big old roller. I have a marble roller, and I just roll it out and cut out about 6 or 7 at a time or more.
But I
this-
wasn't that good, and I couldn't do it the way Mom and Mary done it.
Well,
so
this worked out good this
this
morning.
is my little simple childlike way to do something, one at a time with the children's rolling pin.
I'll tell you, our last video when I was talking about the Lord's blessings, well, it's something, Linda, I forgot to tell you this. About probably 2 months ago, I got a letter in the mail, and it was from my insurance. I don't have Advantage plan because that just won't work for me. And so I got this letter, and they said my insurance was going to go up. It was going to go up $24. I was paying $177, and it was going up to $202. And I said, "Whoa, that's a big jump. That's a big jump." And I said, "Well, Lord, if that's the way it's going to have to be, then then I'll just pay it. I'll just deal with it." Well, I got a letter in the mail last week. When did we video last week?
I think it was last Wednesday.
Tuesday. Yeah, was it Wednesday?
I don't know, Tuesday, Wednesday.
We videoed. The next day, I get a letter in the mail, and that letter said that they sent me a letter a couple of months ago saying that my premium was going up, and it was the first payment was going to be in October, and but they said that it was a mistake, that my premium would stay the same. They wasn't
Oh
going.
my goodness.
And so I just started praising the Lord. I said, that's another blessing.
He always comes
Yeah,
through.
he
don't he?
always comes through. He sure does.
Okay, so we got 4, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22. We got 23. Yeah, and this is
Okay.
a little extra dough here
Okay.
in case some of them are.
And that was out of the whole both rows.
Yes, that was
Okay.
out of both rows. So
Okay.
this wasn't quite a half
Mm-mm.
because we did 61
Right.
over there.
And them
so
balls, I think, may be a little bigger than what they
we
were.
may have made these little
Yeah,
bigger. When
I
we
think
start
they
rolling
might.
them out, you can tell.
Right.
But I'm not going to wrap these in parchment. I'm just going to leave them on the sheet here.
Do you want to put them in the refrigerator?
Yeah, probably wouldn't hurt to refrigerate them. They don't have to be as far as them something happened to them and not
Yeah.
being good, but it just helps them set a little bit better.
We're gonna fry one of these in a few minutes and show you how we fry them. But we're gonna go ahead. Linda, you want us to go ahead and fill these now? Or oh, that's right.
No,
we gotta
they
let
need
them
to-
sit.
they need
We
to
gotta let
set a
them
little bit
sit.
before we can roll them.
Right. Okay. All right.
But I do want to show them the trays there.
Okay. Yes.
And you got the burner heating, right?
yeah, I got
now,
the brine
right?
heating for the oil. Yeah.
Okay. So we want
I
to
got a paper towel here wet so I can wipe my
Yeah.
hands off.
Is there anything else that I can do when you start? We're just gonna fry 2 pies just to show y'all, but these are our trays.
This is some of what we've done. We've done two of these
these
trays
trays.
this morning. That other one's a little heavier than this one.
Yeah, the other one's full. And I noticed that somebody said earlier, and I haven't really been looking at the names, but y'all feel like that you're in the kitchen with us. That makes Mary and I so happy because
Yes,
that's what we
yes.
want you to feel. We want you
Right.
to feel like you're right in here with us. We want you to get in the kitchen and cook. And, you know, Mary, Mama she didn't let us waller. She did not let us waller in our pity.
No.
She never let us. We probably had mentioned this before, but if one of us didn't feel good when it was time to get up to go to school,
Hey, we went to school.
she didn't let us. She didn't let us stay in bed. You would just
That's
get up and
right.
get your clothes on. Want to
Yeah.
see if you feel better. Eat some breakfast.
Yeah, you'll feel
And-
better.
And
You'll
by
feel
that
better.
time, we were ready to go. You
Yeah.
know, she knew.
Right.
She knew. And I think about so many times. There's so much on depression and people that are down and out, or you know, maybe they think things aren't going just right for you. We have a very strong faith, and Mary's told you over and
Yeah.
over. And I've driven down the road many times when I was miles and miles and miles away from my family by myself, when we lived in other places, and I would I'd drive down the road and I think, Lord, how are you going to work this out? And He always did,
Yes,
to my
yes.
amazement.
Right.
But just like Mary was talking about them making pies when Bobby was out of work because of the cold, you find a way.
That's right.
Don't
That's
whine.
right.
You know, I see other people and like, you know, I don't know what we're going to do. We can't do this. We were taught that you just
make
make
it.
something
Yeah,
happen. Now,
right.
we believe in prayer and we believe in faith, but we also believe that you need to get up
Work.
off of your rear and do something. Find a way to make something happen. And even if it's not money that you need, you will be surprised how much better it will make you feel.
Yes.
I remember after Daddy died and Mama was so down and out, and all those years that she was by herself, she was 39, and we're going to be telling about that. But what did she do? She did for others.
Yes, she did.
She did for others. If you're feeling especially low, get in your kitchen and bake a pie and take it to somebody. It's going to make you feel so good to do that. And it's not always about us. It's sometimes if we do something for somebody else, maybe it's just that little tiny still voice in your head and thinking, you know, I would like to do something, but I don't even know if they like coconut. I don't know if they like chocolate. That's just those little seeds of doubt that the devil plants in your head. Go do it.
Right.
Even if they don't like it, which chances are they are,
Right.
it's gonna
It's the thought.
it's the thought, and
that
it's
counts.
gonna lift their day, and it may be exactly what that person needs
Right,
to
right.
help them over a hill that
Right.
they're trying to get over.
Yeah, that reminded me, Linda, something that happened when we first moved here 25, a little over 25 years ago, well, Bobby, he hurt his back to begin with, but he had this skin problem. It was Agent Orange, but anyway, he had a lot of health problems, and so he wasn't able to work as much, and so I said, well, I'll just have a little garage. I'll have a yard sale. I'll just have a yard sale. So I had a yard sale. Didn't hardly anyone to come. I made $50. Wasn't much, but that was okay. It's $50, and it was just a little extra. I went to church that Sunday night. This garage sale was on Saturday. You know, you don't never know. It's hard sometimes to tell whether it's the Lord speaking to you or if it's just your mind. But I didn't know this lady's circumstances. But anyway, I made $50, and something just, my eyes just wandered over to this lady that was sitting to the right of us in church, and it just come to me, give that woman that $50. And I said, my $50, that's all I made on that yard sale. I can't do that. And, but I thought about it all during church. And then after church, I went down and prayed and asked the Lord, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it whether it's you or not. I hope that it's you, because I know that if it's you telling me that, you will bless me. So I didn't do it for a blessing, because I didn't, it was just one of them circumstances. I didn't know. After church that night, I gave that woman that $50. I didn't know how much she needed it. But to this day, she'll tell you how much she appreciated it. She really was in need. And did you know that was on a Sunday? Did you know Monday, I went to the mailbox out there, and I had a check from IRS that we had misfigured our taxes, and it was $1,000. I did.
You don't think God will work? He more than likely you would have got that check anyway.
I know.
But you were obedient
Yes.
to that little voice.
And I didn't know for sure, because I like to help people anyway. So, but sometimes I don't. Sometimes I don't listen to that little voice. But I'm telling you, when you do, and it's Lord, you do get rewarded for it. So
you absolutely do.
anyway, well, we're probably going to have to turn that camera this way if we possibly can.
Let's see if I can turn it without messing up here. Mary's got her oil in her skillet heated. Miriam, you might be doing a better job than I'm
Linda
doing.
forgot her trapod this morning.
Yeah,
So we kind of makeshift.
out of sorts.
Can you
this
see
morning.
the skillet, Linda? Can you see the skillet? I can't tell.
Yeah, you can see it.
Okay. All right. So it's going to take a few minutes. I just poured that in there.
So
I've had the skillet. I heat the skillet first.
yes.
Now we're doing these in the skillet, but normally I do it in a deeper pot. When I'm doing I'm not frying all these pies today on live. We're just frying two, just to show y'all how they look. But then taste them. Yeah, we want a fried pie. And then after, then I will fry these later.
So when we say it's a 2-day process,
Yeah.
it is a 2-day process. And I hope y'all caught that little tip on heating your skillet or boiler before you put the oil in. It makes the oil heat much, much faster.
What I do is I put this over another cookie sheet, and I put paper towels, or either I've got some of them little commercial towels. I put on my tray, then this on top, and I drain my fried pies on this, so all the grease goes onto the pan. Then I transfer them on another pan to cool, because I'm frying so many at a time.
And she's using Crisco vegetable
I'm using
oil.
Crisco oil.
We are pretty particular about the oil we use, and there are some things that I don't mind using generic brands, but oil is not one of them. Shortening and oil, you need to use a good brand, and I don't care if it's Crisco or Wesson, but I don't want a store brand frying pies. I've tried it, and they just don't fry the same. They don't.
I'm gonna finish telling that story about whenever we was when Mama had died and we went back to work. We
I know what you're gonna tell.
we went on. We was working that day, and Linda just felt bad, and I didn't know how to cheer her up, because I just didn't know what to do. But anyway, we had stopped at some location, and And Linda didn't want to get out. And I said, Linda, you got to get out. And she said, well, no, what happened, first of all, you fell. How did you fall that day? She hurt her toe somehow or another. She stumped her toe.
on the curb, I think.
Yeah, she stumped her toe and it was hurting her. And so we went on down the road and she's just in a really bad situation. She's feeling so bad. And a car pulled out in front of her and Linda talks to these drivers in the car. She said, why did you do that? I've got a sore foot. I can't stop. And I laughed. I couldn't help it. I laughed. But it didn't make Linda feel any better because I laughed.
It was just, I felt so ashamed of myself so many times about the way how I acted during that,
that's
that
okay.
2 weeks. But I'm literally getting on the plane with the phone in my hand, talking to the VA, you know, to report her death, and tears just falling down my eyes, and we're getting on the plane, and I just hand the phone to my sister and let her finish the conversation because I couldn't even do it. And some of y'all might think we were crazy for doing that. That's just how we are. You know, work has to be done. We've committed to something. We're going to do it.
That wasn't the only time we got in the vehicle and go. I had a wreck. It was in 1998.
Coming from the Lumen reunion.
Coming from the Lumen reunion. I was at night and I was coming home. My daughter was with me, and this elderly man pulled out one of the side where he had been to a ball game and hit me right in the side. I seen him coming and I was started braking. But I did not want to brake too fast because I was afraid he's going to hit me right in the side of the door. And that's where my daughter was sitting. So anyway, the Lord had his hand on us and he hit us. I was black and blue. I mean,
literally.
Oh, the airbag busted. It totaled my car. And my car, I hadn't had it but 1 month. A brand new car. And anyway, so I was black and blue. When was it that we had to go back out to work? We went to New Mexico.
It was less than a week.
Yeah. And I told Linda I didn't know if I was going to be able to go or not. She said, oh, you'll be okay. You'll be okay. Yeah, you'll be okay. You can go. Well, I went, but I want you to know I was so sore. Every bump she hit, I jarred.
We drove. This was a drive trip.
Yeah.
Poor Mary. I've always just thought my sister could do anything, and I just didn't realize to the extent how bad she was hurt.
Oh, that's all right. We had a good time.
We did have a good time. We've been on several trips.
We've had a lot of good times traveling. We traveled together, and my kids has even got to go with us sometimes. We've seen the Grand Canyon twice?
Yeah, twice.
We have just been all over the United States and enjoyed it.
I was thinking about on the way over here. There's not maybe 4 or 5 airports in the United States that we haven't been in.
You've been through more than I have.
A few more, and we've been in some small ones too. We flew into Phoenix. It was me and you and Mama and Carla.
Mama went with us.
We were working in Arizona
one time.
And in case y'all are wondering what we were doing all this traveling and everything, we worked for a research company. And we were working on a transportation project. So it was Mary, Mama, and me and Carla. We flew to Phoenix, and we took one of them 10-seater airplanes.
Oh yeah,
from Phoenix,
one of them little small ones.
To smallest one I've ever been on in my life, and I have been on a helicopter, which is a lot smaller. But this was the smallest airplane I'd ever been on, and we flew from Phoenix to Flagstaff, and we were sitting in the very, very end of that plane. You remember?
Yeah, the very back seat. Yes, I remember.
And you're coming up over them canyons and climbing and going up to a higher elevation from the desert up into the mountains. My mama was praying. I mean, she wasn't whispering. She was having a prayer meeting.
Yeah, she was.
There was 2 or 3 other people on there, and I don't know if they
said they was glad they had somebody on there praying.
they felt protected because Mama was on there praying, but we stepped off. We stepped off of that plane,
and it was so cool and crisp.
I will never forget it. I instantly fell in love with Flagstaff. It was 117 degrees when we left Kilgore. We stepped off of that plane in Flagstaff. It was 54 degrees. I will never forget it. I thought I'd died and gone to heaven. I don't like heat anyway. I never have.
All right, Linda. This is it.
Okay. She's got a little dough tester
a little bit of
here
dough
to see if our grease is ready. and we'll know in a minute if it is.
I don't think
wanna
it
see
is.
this. I got these in yesterday from, this is that fish turner you was telling me
Yeah,
about,
it's a
right?
fish turner, but it's not peppered shell.
Okay,
Yeah.
they're longer, but
Are
it's
they?
made on the
Yeah.
same thing as that.
It's flat. This one is not flat. So I don't think it's hot enough, Linda.
I don't think it's hot. Now, in my boiler at home, I use the big Sam's boilers with the handles on them. I heat the boiler for about 7 or 8 minutes, and I use it on between 5 and 6 is where I fry mine. It's electric stove. And I heat that boiler probably 8 minutes, and then I fill it full. I fill it about probably 2/3 full of oil, and you have to be very careful with this. I'm used to doing this, but you have to be very careful not get too much in it because it'll splatter out. But I probably heat that oil for at least 15 to 18 minutes after it's in the boiler.
Is that right?
And I never
Well,
leave the kitchen. I stay right there over it to make sure, that it's not getting too hot and starts to fire.
Now, where do we go? Which one are we gonna fry, Linda?
We definitely want to fry pineapple.
Okay, these are pineapple, right?
Yes. And it's up to you if you want to fry peach or an apple or
let's
not.
fry peach. Let's fry peach.
Okay. We're going to show y'all what they look like. Taste them. And
Never fails. That phone rings while we're.
Okay, it's
I
smoking
think that
now,
I
so-
think that grease is ready.
yeah, her grease is smoking, and she
Yeah.
left her little tester in there. So
Yeah. All right. Now I hope that ain't too hot
Here.
because
you don't think it's, I don't want it to get on fire.
I'm gonna I'll turn the burner down because I hit it
Okay.
really hot. This is a very dangerous job.
It is.
You have to be very
You have to
careful.
know what you're doing because you can
You
start
have
a
to be
grease
very
fire.
careful. And you can even put it on your spatula and put it down in there
My
if you want
sister's
to.
a lot braver than I am. I would never fry them in a skillet.
Well,
Scared.
we did this for a long time.
I know.
That's why we done it.
I know.
But I am going to do it in the boiler when I fry all those.
But she's
4 or
just
5
frying
dozen.
too, so-
Yeah. And that oil is hot, you see.
Yeah, it is.
And I don't want to
Slop that
slop
grease
that
out.
grease out. Actually, this was probably grease might have been a little bit too hot.
Yeah, but they look real nice.
Well, I
don't
stuck
they?
the spatula in there, so I'm
That's
just
all
going
right.
to.
Yeah, just do
I'm
it
just
like
gonna-
you do an egg. That's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, frying them in a iron skillet, it's really not good because the skillet gets so hot till they burn on the bottom.
And in a boiler, you
In
know,
a
you
boiler,
got-
they float up
yeah.
in a boiler.
Once they get to a
Yeah.
certain thing, they'll come to the top.
Yeah.
I fry 3 or 4 at a time in the boiler, and I have had 3 boilers going at one time with just me frying them. And that is
Okay.
really takes some doing to do that.
All right. Now I'm going to move that oil off of that skillet because it's electric.
Do you want me to move this, or you just don't?
It don't matter. I'm just going to put it right here.
Okay.
I'm not going far with that skillet. I know I'm doing a dangerous thing here.
Here, give me that. I'll get that off the floor.
I get it. I'll get here first. I'll get a paper towel. Wipe that off.
Okay, y'all are about to get to see the finished product. And don't forget that we're going to be starting Mama's Story the first full week in September, which is next week, right?
Yeah, it's next Tuesday.
So
Next Tuesday.
we'll announce and let y'all know what day we're going to be doing this. But we are also in the process of getting Pinky Miles aprons and t-shirts. We will show you what we've got. So anyone, once we get them, they're already ordered, some samples. So once we get them, we'll show them to you. And anyone that wants to order one, we'll give you a chance to do that.
See, the skillet was really too hot, and because it burned around the edges. My grandkids would say that was burnt. But anyway, you have to adjust the oil. This is something you just have to figure out some of it on your own about how hot to get it. And
So you're going to cut it and let us taste it?
yes, let's cut it.
But those edges around that pie,
Yeah.
that is so crispy.
Yeah. This is a different recipe than when Mother and I was making them, and
when y'all were making hundreds.
When we was
of them.
making, yeah.
But then in later years, Mama started making them.
Yeah, then Mama
like
started
this.
making it like this.
So let's show them how much filling's in it. This is not a teaspoonful of pie
These are
filling.
pineapple. See how thick? See how good that is?
That has got a lot of filling in it.
Yeah.
A lot.
Okay. All right, you wanna?
You gonna try it?
Mm-hmm. Linda made the pineapple filling. It's delicious.
Is it hot?
No, the grease was too. The grease was too. The grease was too hot, and so it did. It didn't get the inside real hot.
But the crust is
The
done.
crust is done.
Can they see how super thin that is? That crust. And
See how
flaky?
thin the crust is?
And this is
It's flaky. It's delicious.
pineapple. I guess probably has always been our
Pineapple's my
favorite.
favorite. Yeah.
I like texture in my food, so we have crushed pineapple in this, and also pineapple tiblets.
You want to cut
It's-
the peach one?
Yes,
Show them.
it's not made with fresh pineapple. The peach is made with fresh peach, but the
I did.
pineapple we use canned.
I did burn this one.
That's okay. We're still going to eat it.
This is
Did we get
pineapple.
another pineapple? Uh-oh. Well, then I guess we each get a pineapple then. That was my mistake.
You have to, when you make it a bunch like this, you have to keep
Put
row.
markers,
Yeah,
yeah.
you have to put markers in there. Which row is what? So anyway, this
that's
is
all
peach
right.
soup.
We'll-
So we got
we'll
peach
eat
is our
'em.
favorite.
They're not going to go to waste, not one
I
crumb.
thought we was frying a peach and a pineapple, but we got two pineapples. That's okay.
We haven't
Thank
been
y'all.
watching the names, but we thank all of y'all so much for watching us and joining us in our kitchen.
We'll
Mary's
post the
Kitchen.
recipe. We'll
And,
post the recipe.
This is actually in our cookbook, if any of you have cookbooks.
Yeah, the crust recipe's in our cookbook. Yeah.
And we are working on, the Lord willing, hopefully having another cookbook out around the early
Spring.
summer,
Yeah,
late
early
spring,
spring.
early summer of next year, if the Lord's willing. That's what we plan to do. So thank you all
Have a
again.
blessed day. Glad
Always
y'all
count
joined
your
us.
blessings.
Bye-bye.
Bye.